Okay.
We can unscrew some light bulbs, I guess.
Well, you know what? We'll do the best we can. We'll just do the best we can. First of all, I don't know if any of you guys know where we came from, humble beginnings, but 4 or 5 years ago when I joined the RIA group, it was Ralph, Lee, myself, and I think one other person. And these two guys, I really want you to give them a round of applause because they've single-handedly kept this thing going when there was no hope of any new members. The oil field had crashed, everybody was gone. We used to sit and look at each other and talk real estate. So a little bit about me. I've done houses almost all my life. When I was when I was 19, I was managing an apartment building on the campus of where I went to school. Then I got married, and my husband's father and I would buy houses on the courthouse steps. We would fix them up, and we would carry the note to be the bank because we had figured out early on that's where the money was. It wasn't even really selling it. And half the houses we'd get back anyway, so we just fix them up again and resell them again. And then I went on to have a career out in Los Angeles, and for a lot of those early lean years I was managing different size apartment buildings from 16 units up to 125. Then I came to Texas and went back to my roots, and I'd started an oil field company, and when everything went to hell in a handbasket, I bought a piece of land that I knew I could do something with, and it had 2 dilapidated houses, 1 good house, but it had 10 acres on the Garden City Highway. And I knew with just location, it would turn into something. And I learned how to build out an RV park, and I have income beyond anything I could have ever dreamed of now. So I'm going to teach you how I look at things, how I decide what things cost. So let's look at our handouts first, because it's always difficult to figure out what you're going to fix when you're looking at a house, and you have to figure out what you're going to pay for it before you ever start fixing it. So you know, it's like an endless loop. How do I do this? How do I do this? So here's what I do. I've just given you my pointers. I check the foundation. They're generally an easy fix, but they're so scary when you say, look at this crack, we have foundation issues on this house. It's a huge negotiating point because most people are terrified of it, and it's really not a big deal. Most of the time can be fixed for $1,000 to $1,500. Check the roof. I go up there with a ladder because whatever that roof looks like is going to be my problem in the not too distant future should I buy this property. I look at do the tiles look worn? Are any of them beat up by any kind of hail damage? Are they cracking and piecing off? Are they missing? Does the flashing look good? Has somebody caulked around the flashing? Because you'll be doing that or paying somebody to do all that when you get going. Then here's a little trick I learned from somebody else. I take a picture of the HVAC unit, and I go home and I search on the internet. I put in the brand, and then I put in the serial number, and it will tell me how old it is. And then, are the kitchen cabinets in good shape? Normally, if you had to gut a kitchen and put in all new cabinets, it's $7,500 to $10,000. If the cabinets are at all usable, even if I can't use the face of them, if I can use the housing itself, I save them because I'm going to teach you, I'm going to give you guys phone number in this handout that can help you with the new doors. Check for water leaks. You're going to see some of the pictures. I don't know if we'll be able to see the water leaks on these photos, but there were on my dad's house. So, I'd never lived in my father's house, so I was discovering things as I went along too. Look for cracks or separations on the floor between the tiles. Now this is how I rough estimate what it's going to cost me to fix and flip a house. In a highly populated town, I use the 400 rule. That means I take the square footage of a house times 4, and that's going to be what my cost of flooring and paint is. Say in the example here, 1,500 square foot house times 4, it will cost me $6,000 for carpet, flooring, and paint. Now, because, and then if you want to figure out what the rest of the house, besides the carpet, flooring, and paint is going to cost to renovate, I take the age of the property in years, which in this example is a 1955 house is 63 years old, times 400 is $25,200. So you add $25,200 plus $6,000 for your paint and flooring, come to $31,200 is a rough estimate of what it's going to cost me to fix up that house. In Midland, I tend to use a 5,500 or a 6,600 because vendors are so hard to find here. They're just really, well, one of my gifts to you, because it is my dream to help you all out, is in this vendor list. I'm going to give you all the people I use and what they charge and their phone numbers, and handing over my secret list. Took me 4 years to put it together, and it's worth its weight in gold. So then I decide, the first thing that you have to decide before you decide how much it's going to cost is, am I flipping in a bread and butter neighborhood, or am I flipping in a diamond in the rough neighborhood? And that's really how I split them up. A bread and butter is average, small to average size house in a middle class neighborhood. A diamond in the rough is a larger square footage. Now your bread and butters are going to be 1,500 on the high side down, and your diamonds in the rough will be bigger than that generally. This is a general rule. And in the nicer neighborhoods, you're going to have to put things in that house that you wouldn't in the bread and butter, and we're going to go over that. Then I try to figure out from what's in the house what kind of color scheme I'm going to pick. And you'll want to go two ways. You're going to want to go with earth tones, or you're going to want to go with gray. Now the earth tones are like your beiges, beige carpet, kind of a cream color wall. If you're going with granite, you want something with some throws of brown in it. And then I'm going to show you, I did a gray on gray house, and I'm going to show you the pictures of how it turned out, and I'm going to show you the actual stuff I used. So a lot of people, if they're renovating a property to rent out, I've heard a lot of folks in the Houston RIA group paint their walls cigarette smoke yellow because it keeps them from having to repaint the whole thing. They can give it a little fresh up coat, and they don't have to paint the whole thing. And PPG had a color that was really close to the color. It's not quite this color, but it's a little lighter and it's a little yellow. I saw a lot of it in my dad's house because he smoked for I don't know how many years. Finally killed him. Okay. On my bread and butter houses, I buy my paint from a couple of different places. You can get a fairly decent grade of paint at the Habitat Restore in Midland for $85 for 5 gallons. It's an indoor-outdoor paint. It's pretty resilient. There is also at McCoy's over there, they have, let me see where my phone is. They have a paint that I was just taking pictures of before I came here so I could tell you. It's $69 for their semi-gloss for 5 gallons, and it's $59 for flat. So those are some pretty good sources for paint. Now we're gonna, let's start taking you through these houses on the pictures here so I can show you how I pick what to do. Help. He's gonna log on. I'm using his computer because mine wouldn't sync with the projector. There we go. Gosh, I wish.
I think with the surface, maybe we can just pass that around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's just pass that around.
Okay.
It's,
Let me just show it.
which one is that one?
Here. I'm going to just show you on my. We won't be using yours anymore because they can't get it to go up there with any kind of decent.
Or should we just turn off the light for a minute?
We can.
And turn it back on?
We can try that.
Ross, would be the light switcher.
Okay. This is my father's living room. What you really can't see is that the carpet has got a lot of tracked up stuff on it. The walls are that faded smoker's yellow. All of the window enhancements around the windows, the casing, are brown. So is the mantle, and it's a popcorn ceiling with smokers stuff on it too. So what I decided, lights please. What I decided to do is, I'm in a higher end neighborhood where my father lived. It was a 2,850 square foot home. And I started looking around and I got, this is the grade of carpet that's almost identical to the one I bought for my dad up there. It's from a supplier here in Midland. His name is Bill at Action Carpet. He's on your list. I buy this carpet from him installed for $3 a square foot. Carpet's sold, I don't know if you know that, by the ounce. And the higher the number of the ounces, the nicer the carpet is. So because my dad's was a diamond in the rough and the house was going to probably sell north of $400,000, I tore out the padding as well and got new padding. On bread and butter, I don't always tear out the padding. I sometimes leave it because it's still padding under there, and unless I'm truly trying to make a splash with the comfort and the elegance of it, it will not matter to my bread and butters whether I reuse my padding or not. So this is a 48-ounce carpet. The thing I really like about it, I use it in all my rentals, is it's Scotch guarded. So and I have dogs, you know, we're pet friendly out there, so they're gonna make a certain amount of mess, and I can come back a year later and rent a rug doctor and run it over this and pretty much get everything up. Now he's telling me that he's got a new kind of carpet. It's so weird that, I don't know if you ever have seen carpet put down, but they put a tack strip around the outside of a room, and then they stretch it and they knock it into the tack strip and they tape it together on the seams. He says they have this new Mohawk carpet that is so crazy that they don't stretch it, they take the tack strips out, they lay it down, and it just sits. And it has I forget, it's on the handout, I forget how many years of a warranty, but he says they just put a thin layer of tape to hold it together, but it doesn't, if you pull on it, it will snap back into its original size. It's just the strangest thing, and it's all Scotch guarded, same thing. And he said when people spill things on it, all they do is walk over with a towel and lay it on there, and it soaks right out of the carpet. It's supposedly the newest, latest, greatest thing in carpet. So if you have a higher end house, it would certainly be worth a trip over to see Bill at Action Carpet over in Midland, even if your house is in Odessa, because his prices, the last 2 pages are my secret list of vendors. They're under Carpet and Flooring Action. The one that I'm showing you now is a 45-ounce, 50% recycled Scotch guard. I gave you the color MP45, or MP45 is the product. The color is 538, which is a gray beige. If you look at this carpet after I'm done speaking, you're going to see gray in here, white in here, brown in here. So it goes with almost either color scheme, if you're doing a gray tone color scheme or if you're doing earth tone color scheme. This will go really good. Now the other thing I decided to do with my dad's house, I'm going to give you a backsplash lesson today too. This is the hottest thing in flooring. Everybody's using it now. This is a vinyl flooring. It's 25 years. Honestly though, if it's a rental, it's going to last 5 years before the coating starts to fade away. And there's 3 different ways you can buy this stuff. This particular style is $1.99 a square foot. And this particular style snaps together, so you float the floor. There's a fellow in here in my sheet that will float the floor for you, because unless you really know what you're doing, you don't want to have to try and snap this all together starting at that corner, and by the time you get over here have it all be okay. It's like any other thing. It's a feel. So there are 2 other forms of this that you could do yourself. One is, if you see how these snap floors are, they snap together on this end and that end, and they kind of lay one on top of the other and they pop them in there. There's one now that they have, all of these are available at Home Depot. They have one now that has a wider strip here and a wider strip here, and it's got glue on it. And it's called a glue down, and those are $1.69 a square foot. The next grade down from that is for your do-it-yourselfers that want to save a little bit of money. You can pull up all of your whatever is on your floor, and then you bring in, they have a primer that they sell to go with this type of flooring. It's a primer made by Henry's, and you apply it on the floor with a roller. And then you bring in a piece that looks like this, but the whole back will be glue. And that's what I'm going to switch to in my rentals, so that when my floor starts to wear out in 5 years, I'll be able to lift just that piece. Whatever section is damaged, take that out and put another one in. But you got to make sure you buy plenty of stock if you're going to do that for rentals, because down the road, I mean, Home Depot is pretty good about it. They usually keep the same stuff in stock for a really long time. Been using the same tile and flooring in my stuff for quite a few years now. But I'll show you how nice this looks. Let's take a look at one of the pictures of how it turned out on the house. This is, if you hit the lights, I'm going to show you, this is my dad's kitchen. And then we'll talk about how you decide. Now, because his is a diamond in the rough, if you can see, we've got Formica countertops here. We've got some linoleum that you can't really see, but it's all chipped and cracked. It's a lovely yellow. And I've got this sort of homey backsplash that was really popular in the 1980s. So, and I have wallpaper in this whole room. So, because it was a diamond in the rough, we put this same flooring that I just showed you down on the floor. We went with granite instead of Formica, and I'm going to give you a little backsplash lesson, because I put 3 backsplashes in this house with 1 class from a teacher at Home Depot, and I was his only student, so class was quick. Let's close that one and see if we can find the next picture. I can show you different, just click on whatever we come to. That looks like more of the kitchen. Let's look at this entryway here. This is my dad's entryway. One of the things I had to decide about was, there's some really beautiful mosaic tile, but it was really big and it was really old. So I made the decision after I talked to my flooring installers that if I could demo that, they could lay down that gray new plastic flooring. So I decided to take all of this brown wood, turn it to white, turn all the walls to gray, but see by that doorway up by the corner, that's a water stain. So I'm gonna have to track down where that's coming from. So went upstairs, and the master shower was very close to this, and it turned out when we opened it up, because I knew I was gonna demo the shower anyway and put in a new nice tiled shower with an accent, that I had them check the pan, and the pan was so badly damaged that it was actually destroying the substructure underneath the pan. So they went in and made that all fresh and new, and that that stain went away, but there was another stain. If you could see the side of the door that's cut off here in the picture, there was another stain there, and I'm like, this is really baffling because there was nothing above it. And what it turned out to be was there was an outdoor light on the wall. My dad used to love to do do-it-yourself projects, only he didn't do them really well. He'd do them like really shitty, and we'd all have to deal. You know, it took me 3 electricians to get the wiring straight in this house because my dad was like fixing the fuse box. Let's look at the next one and see what we've got here. That one down there in the corner.
This one?
Yeah. Now this is, you can't really tell, but at some point you're going to have to stop renovating. I knew I had it in the budget to do the master. I always encourage people, if you have it in your budget, really glam up the kitchen and the master bath, if there is a master bath. If there's not, try and make the one bath in the house look as jazzy as you can, because a woman's going to say yes or no to that house, I guarantee almost 100% of the time, and they like to see something, you know, that makes them feel good and glamorous in their kitchen and in their bathrooms, makes them feel special. So you can't really see it from this photo, but what I'm dealing with here is a cream colored Formica type surface on the countertop, a white sink that does not match the Formica type surface, yellow tile with white accents where the towel hangs and where the paper towel holders, those were white accents, more wallpaper, and some kind of brown funky saloon doors on the window. So let's close that out. But what I decided to do, instead of trying to hide that yellow tile, because I had old yellow tile in one bathroom and old blue tile in another, and I'm like, there just isn't money in the budget to demo. It was on the floor, it was on the walls, it was friggin' everywhere. So when you're stuck in a case like that, you have to find a way to minimize it. And what I did is, on the downstairs main floor bathroom, I put in that same gray plastic flooring. I demoed all the tile out of the yellow bathroom. And upstairs, you'll see how I was able to get, now you don't have people that do this here in Midland, I've already checked. There's people that in most major cities will come in and they can spray a countertop for you and make it look like faux marble. But I'm going to show you some other options that you do have here. Let's see what we've got. Let's open a different folder in my, go to the inbox up here. Okay, let's look at the new house. Click on that one. This is where we started. This is my dad's living room now. That's that same carpet, that same grade carpet. It took me 2 or 3 tries to get the color on the mantle right, because there was no money in the budget to, you know, you see on these fix and flip houses, oh, I'm going to take out this fireplace and I'm going to recover it with all this crap. And in reality, there's not that kind of money in a house flip. You really have to live with a lot of stuff that you've already got and learn to love it. So the only thing I could really play with was a way to tie in the mantle so that it didn't look quite so bad. And I have to tell you, this white crown molding and the white around the windows and the white around the floors turned out to be a way bigger job than I ever imagined, because, and I tried every product on the market to take wood that's already stained dark to white, even, and I don't care what you use for your primer sealer coat, it's going to take 3 to 4 coats. Just is. And that window, which there's 39 sets of in my dad's house, had 3 different layers on each window. It had like accents within accents within accents. And you know, there was a time I considered blowing the house up for the insurance money, because I just didn't know if I could stand to look at one more window. So this is the living room. Now we'll go to the next picture and we'll see how the kitchen turned out. Let's see where that is. That's that one there. Okay, this is that flooring in the kitchen. This is that same old kitchen. There's granite on the countertops. I bought used appliances that were all stainless steel, but real high end. You know, I'd bought them from nice people, but instead of spending $2,200 to $3,000 on stuff that somebody might not like or may replace immediately upon buying the house, we spent $750 on Craigslist. And I got those 3 chairs. When I was planning on the granite, I planned an overhang of 5 inches so that I could have an eat-in kitchen. It suddenly went from just a countertop where you prepare food with a little bit of forethought. I asked the granite guy, I said, if it hangs over this far, like 9 inches, will it break off? And he said, absolutely not. And I said, can I get a chair in there? And he said, oh, you're smart. Let's make it all the way out to that door so you can have as big an overhang as you can. And I bought those 3 chairs to kind of help stage it on Craigslist for $60 for the 3. I'm going to teach you later on how I did a backsplash. I'm going to teach you everything that he taught me. Now, at this point in the house, I'd taken down wallpaper out of 11 rooms. This room had wallpaper and I was just done. I was just done. So I looked up on the internet, I love YouTube, how to paint over wallpaper. And if you're really careful and you take spackle and you go over the seams and you sand it down, it will look as nice as that. There is wallpaper under every square inch of those walls. And I got a new fixture. I got on closeout at Lowe's up on the ceiling. And all of those kitchen cabinet doors I took off and I hung them in the garage from, I put some hooks in the ceiling and I hung them from ropes, and eventually I ended up hanging them because I had such a production line going. I hung them from wire hangers and I could spin them around and paint them front and back and let them dry, because you know, these were 3 to 4 quotes of, there's 41 doors in his kitchen. So it looked like Dexter's Kill Room. You know, I had plastic all around all the walls. It was just horrible. But it made it easy to make an assembly line to get those doors through there, all 4 coats. I was painting in the morning and then I let them dry, and then I'd have a different set I'd put up there in the afternoon and get all the first coats on, 15 or 20 doors that day. But it turned out looking really well. You don't want to brush paint a door in a kitchen unless you absolutely have to. I use this machine that's genius. You can buy it for about $125 at Home Depot. It's called the Flexio 590. It's a sprayer that you hold in your hand. It has a little, why don't you turn the lights on, because I'm going to describe it with my hands. I'm going Italian on you and I'm not even Italian. It's got a little pot on it, like bigger than this. Well, it has 2 pots that it comes with. One is this small and one is bigger, and 2 handles that they snap into, and you can set the flow. And I would watch the YouTube videos on setting the flow and the velocity the paint comes out, and I would take a big piece of plywood and practice before you start, because it doesn't take long to get the hang of it. I'm not really talented in the mechanical regard, but I got the hang of it pretty quick. And at one point, I think, I got to be really, really good at it. And it gives it a finish. Instead of having brush marks in your cabinets on your doors, you're going to have a sheen, which looks really sharp. The only other choice that you can do for kitchen cabinets is a company I just found in Houston. They're called Cinch, CINCH.com. They're on your handout. I went on a bus tour of a bunch of apartment buildings to see how they took care of their buildings and the kind of streamlined things they did, because these were 500-unit apartment buildings, and they had to streamline some processes so that when turnover came, it would be easier. So instead of having to replace a whole bunch of cabinets every time somebody dinged or cut or jabbed or smashed in or broke. They would call Cinch, and he could do a whole kitchen for them if it was a brand new renovation, $600 to $900 for all the cabinet faces. And what they send you is a cabinet face that you pick out the style. They have a bunch of different styles. You can pick the one that suits you. You send them the measurements of your housings. They put the cabinets together for you. They send you the paint to paint the cabinets, and if you tell them approximately how much square feet you're trying to cover of the housings, they'll send you the paint for that too. And if you screw up and break one, or you lose some hardware or whatever, they'll send that to you too. And his name is on my little handout sheet. The other thing that I think is really important, it's not as important in bread and butters, but it's really important when you're doing a higher end fix and flip, is all of those doors, those handles, and you don't see it, but the doors on all the house doors and closet doors and bathroom doors, I switched them all out to silver, including the hinges, because I had a couple of realtors before I'd switched them out. The house was as pretty as it is now, and they come through and go, oh, so you're not going to change out the hinges and the door handles? Kind of crappy on a house this nice. And I was like, I guess I am. The good news is the handles on the doors, they sell at Home Depot in industrial packs. They're cheap. It's like, I don't know. You can shop eBay. I shop eBay a lot too for things like hardware. You can get them for about $1.50 a handle, which seems like a lot, but handles are not cheap. Nothing metal is cheap. I got that light and a whole bunch of other ones at the Habitat Restore. They always have a whole bunch of chandeliers hanging around. You can pick them up at Goodwill's. It just depends on wherever they collect building supplies in this town. I know in Midland they collect building supplies, and lots of them over at the Habitat Restore, and it's a really fun place to go. Yes, sir.
I wanted to add something. I met this lady and she told me that she built up a relationship with one of the managers at Home Depot, and that once a month they replace all of the fans and
on the
chandeliers and
display.
stuff. Yeah, that are on display, and they sell it at about 75% off. And if you go in and you talk to them, you might be able to go in and purchase anything you want that's on display.
You know what? Make them a part. If you hit the lights again, we'll look at some more pictures here in a minute. But here's the biggest thing that I've learned is when you're by yourself flipping a house for months at a time, you get really lonely in a strange town. So I'd go into the Home Depot every day. Well, not every day. I'd go in 3 times a week because I'd try to keep my runs to a minimum and make my lists and not go crazy with getting up there every day. But what I did is I'd take pictures of my progress and I'd show everybody in the departments that were helping me make it happen, because they come in and they help you, go through 40 different kinds of flooring until you finally figure out this is the one you really wanted all along, but you didn't know how to explain it to them. And you find your carpet, and they never get to see the finished result. They go through all the pain and hassle, one person after another coming in, and they bust their ass to make your dreams come true, and then they never hear from you again. So I took them along for the ride. And as a result of that, every time I needed something special or I needed something fast, I got what I needed because I was different than everybody else. And so now we'll look at some more pretty pictures of what we did to this house. Really, one of the things that we'll go briefly through, this is the master bedroom. It's nothing really special. It's just more of the same of that clean, sharp look of the carpet, the white baseboards, and the white around the windows. But if we can close that one and look at the next one, let's see. Okay, this one down here we're gonna look at. That's that downstairs bathroom with the yellow tile that I was stuck with. If you look, I got a guy that could spray coat the countertop so it wasn't sort of faux yellow brownish anymore. It was this cleaner white with some gray streaks in it that matched the paint which matched the cabinets, which matched the mirror, and it matched the window. And that it looks more brown in this picture of the flooring, but it actually is gray when you go in that room. And I got some gray and white towels. So you can still see that the yellow hasn't gone anywhere, but what I did is I took some white quarter round ceramic tile and I put it around the bottom where the tile meets the plastic floor, and I put some around the top so that it would all kind of pull together. Now let's close that, and we can click on this one. I didn't show you this room before, but this room had white carpet and some really unique Italian looking wallpaper. But when I put this flooring in and that chandelier, it opened that room up to be, it went from being, you know, really dated and really kind of tired looking to being something really, really beautiful. Now let's see if we can find the master bath, because that's where I spent. It's not on this group. Click on that. That's an upstairs bathroom. See, this bathroom was the one I had the pink or the blue tile in. So what I did is I got them to spray those counters. It had a blue sink in it to match the wonderful blue tile. So I got a white sink to pull in with the cabinets. I started getting some artwork and some towels that kind of brought this fun spirit. The artwork had a bunch of different animals in all different colors, so that the blue looked like it was planned. It was part of the color scheme of the art and the towels and the shower curtain and everything. So it really just started to tie together. And then I re-grout all of the tile with some white high gloss grout, so it really popped. Instead of trying to downplay it and pretend it wasn't there, I just made it an accent piece. So let's close this picture and go to another folder. Go to Inbox and go to, oh, New House. I guess we had that open. Mm-hmm. Did I not download a picture of the, oh, it's here, that one. Okay, this is the master bathroom. I spent a little money here. You can't really see, the photo's not the greatest, but it's granite countertops, white cabinets, backsplash that harmonizes with the tile that I put on the wall, which is also the tile that's inside the shower, and the accent pieces on the shower are the same backsplash pieces that are behind the sink. I had finished this room and it had white ceramic tile going up the walls. I'd taken the white ceramic tile off the floor because it was this round, really tiny mosaic tile that went out many years ago. So I'd pulled that up, but it had some subway tiles, 4-inch subway tiles on the wall, which are very hot right now. But with all the other colors I'd picked in this room, they just looked cheap and old. So I stopped before I painted the walls, and I demoed all the tile on the walls and put in, instead of the 4-inch white subway tile, I put in these 12-inch tiles that match the floor. So we can close that down. Let's see where that leaves us with our house flip. We'll have to turn the lights on. Whatever. Okay. Okay, now for here, what I would do is, if you open up that file that says supplies, there's some stuff that you can buy. Click on the very first picture there. There's some stuff you can buy. This is right at Home Depot. It comes in 3 different colors. This one is gray, and, you know, for your gray tone thing, you could pick that one. And then click on this one is for your brown tones. You can get this deeper brown. It's kind of a marbly finish, but it's in Formica. All this is Formica. And then click on that one. This is one I put in my rental unit because it matched the cabinets so well. And, you know, it makes people feel loved on, and that the place is a little more elegant than just some kind of crappy Formica countertop. I actually took the time to try and make it look as much like granite as I could. And here's the tile that I picked. They have 2 different tiles on display at Home Depot. And as you can see, this one's in the brown tones, and they even pick a backsplash to go with it for you. So if you don't have any decorating skills, just look at the displays there and they'll help you out half the way. Now if you click on the next one, that's the silver tones that they have. So they have both, they know what's popular. Let's hit the lights. I went to Home Depot because I didn't know what was popular in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I hadn't lived there in about 40 years. So I went to Home Depot and I said, what do I do? I mean, what's hot right now? What color's flying off the shelves and carpet? And they go, this. And I go, what's flying off the shelves in paint? Gray and white. And I said, oh, I see a theme forming here. And they go, yes. And they were happy to be asked because people don't ask them. They'll ask their friends what color they think they should put on something, but ask the people that sell the stuff every day and they'll tell you what everybody's buying, and that's what's hot right now. And what's still hot right now is gray and white. It's really, really hot. So I buy, if you're looking for some good used appliances to put in your fix and flips, there's a lady here in Odessa named Gail. Gail is amazing. I can go, I'll find this refrigerator that's in really good shape, but it's missing a drawer where the lettuce goes. I go to Gail, I go, she goes, hang on. She'll scurry in the back and she comes out with the drawer. She has a whole section of her store that's just shelves and things like that. You slide the lettuce drawer, the little butter thingy, and she can find almost anything. And she charged me, I think it was 15 or 20 bucks for she's very affordable, and she has some really nice appliances in there. You can get matching washers and dryers. You can get stainless appliances for your fix and flips and it won't cost you an arm and a leg. And what else can I tell you? Oh, I was looking around on the internet today for y'all because I know one of the places that has granite for sure that we know we can count on is Home Depot, but it's $49 a square foot, which is, you don't know from granite, that's not cheap. I paid in Minneapolis, which is a city of 1 million people, 1,300,000, $29 a square foot for some really sharp looking stuff. So I called around. There was one company I suspected that they had it, Acme Brick and Stone. If you want to write their phone number down, it's 877-836-4109. And what I would do is I would go see what it costs to buy just the rough granite there, and I would ask them who installs it for them or who they could recommend, because when I was getting ready to put a roof on, and this guy's on my list, I went to my roofing supplier. I put this on all my RVs and some of my flat roofs. I put this solar coating on it because it's a plastic paint. It actually seals the roof in a coating of plastic. It dries and it's flexible, so it'll flex in the wind and it wears and wears and wears, but the extra value of it is that it reflects the sun. So it'll actually reduce the temperature in those RVs. It'll actually reduce the temperature in those 1980s mobile homes that I have, and people are actually really grateful. So so I went to him, my supplier of the elastomeric paint, and I said, who should I get to put my roof on? Because he sees roofers in and out every day and he knows who's good and who's not. And he said, these 4. 2 of them are brothers. I can't remember which one is the good one. That's what he literally said. He goes, these other 2, it's one of the 2 brothers that you're going to end up hiring, but I'll give you these other 2 just, because you'll need a selection and maybe you'll have a personality problem or whatever. So I call both Gutierrez brothers. Oster comes out first and he says, what's going on here with your roof? And I said, well, We have 70 to 90 mile an hour straight line winds that come right across that cotton field and hit this roof, and everything goes flying in varying degrees. And I said, this will be the second roof I put on in 4 years, and it's going to be the last. And he said, okay, let me tell you what I can do for you. And he took out the same book that it would turn out one other guy would show me, but he said, this is the color that is the color on your roof. You can't tell because this is how it looked when it was new and yours is faded. But what we're going to do to fix this problem is I'm going to put 6 nails on every shingle. And I thought, hallelujah, because he understood the problem. And I didn't you guys have no idea how many times after windstorm I've thrown shingles over my shoulder, gone up with a ladder, nailed them back down, and sealed them with a little bit of tar just to hold the roof together till I could find somebody. I didn't want to put another roof on and have the same problems I was having now. I just wanted to do it one time. It wasn't a question of money because the insurance company had paid me. It's just that I didn't know who was good. So when this guy came out and he finally said 6 nails on each shingle, what I heard is that roof isn't going anywhere. And he said also, we'll run our little magnet over the yard, make sure we don't leave any nails behind for you to run over. And I thought, how thoughtful is this guy? This guy really understands the importance where if you're going to give the same bid, he gave me the exact same price as his brother. But here's what his brother did. Oh, you have so many. I said, you don't even need to come out. This is how many squares. By the time I got smart about it, I knew how big my roof was by the second or third one. They go, oh, you've got a 17 square roof. The other guy, his brother, I'm like, I have a 17 square roof. Let me tell you what's happening. Oh, you've got a 17 square roof. Well, we can put a 30-year shingle on there and it'll last forever. And I could not get a word in edgewise. He didn't want to hear. I said, but I have problems out there with the wind ripping the shingles off all the time. And he goes, oh, but this is a 30-year product. It'll be great. It'll hold. I'm like, no, it won't. I'll be up there with the shingles over my shoulder, going up there, nailing them back in place, because it wasn't the shingle, it was the way they were attached to the roof that was going to make the difference for my problem. So he's on the list. Oscar is the good brother, it turns out. I know we're kind of running long, but if you'd like, I'll give you a very quick class on backsplashes, how I learned how to do it. You can leave the lights on for this one. And a lot of the other things the snap flooring prices are on page 3, and the first snap flooring is called Allure. The second type that has the glue on the sides is called Home Decor. But I'm going to teach you something that I took a class for, and I'm going to give you a heads up. I don't know if any of you have rentals that ever have bad water that jacks up all your appliances and your water heaters, but I know I put in new water heaters every 2 years on my property because I have water wells. And now even with the city of Midland water, it's crap now too. So I started doing research on the internet because I knew technology is changing our world quickly. And what this is it's an electronic water conditioner. Well, it's not in here because it's installed, but it's a magnet that's inside of a plastic housing, and it has 2 shapes like this. So say your pipe is 2 inches right here and it's flowing into your house. You clip this piece on, you actually slide them together, and the magnets touch each other, and they magnetically, by touching the pipe, and in my case, all the way back on the line and down to the well pump, they change the electromagnetic structure of the water. So instead of just being same old ordinary water flowing into my house, bringing in calcium line and crap, my toilets look like they've been through the war. My water heaters, when we replace a water heater, and you kind of dump them out, all the water, and you lay it on its side before you take it to the dump, this white goo always flows out of it, and that's the calcium that's turned in the heat. It's turned to liquid. So this thing not only stops that, but it reverses the calcium that's already in the house. So it's on the handout. It's called the HydroFlow HS38, and it literally runs on a little electric plug that you put in the wall, and it has a little 12-volt cord, and it just makes life grand. And I can tell you this, my water used to stink. We had tried putting bleach down the wellhead. We had tried a whole bunch of different things, and it wouldn't work. So
Does this work on the really hard water?
really hard. I mean, I have a toilet that's in my apartment, and of course I'm like every mechanic. They never fix their own car. My toilet looks like a training
I
rack.
have my toilet.
Oh, I have.
I had to use a special chemical to clean it because the stuff turns this dark brown.
Yeah, I have rings of this color and grays and browns, and it's just horrible, horrible. And this stuff, this thing, each month I take a toilet brush, just a toilet brush, and I toilet brush it, and another layer of the goo falls into the toilet. It's just the most craziest thing because it's reversing the calcium. It's having an effect on the calcium that's already there in the toilet.
Thank you very much. That's something
These,
to use.
now,
I've tried several filters and they don't work.
my email is on here if you're really interested in this. I bought the first one from a guy on eBay for $360 on a bid, and then I emailed him and said I need another one because I have 2 water wells. And he said, okay, I'll launch a auction and you bid on it and close it down right away. So my second one I got for $180. So if you are interested in this, send me an email and I'll send you his eBay name so you can buy it from him, because there again, it's like my roofer, really good guy. Because these are $500 all day long on eBay. And this is the latest technology, is the electronic water conditioner, because you don't have to lug bags of salt anymore. You clip this thing on around your pipes and you're good to go.
Is the name of that in here?
Yeah. Okay, who wants to go to backsplash class? Will you stay with me a few more minutes and let me teach you backsplash class really fast, or have you had enough of me? Show of hands, who needs to go? All right. All right, backsplash class. Home Depot rents a tile saw for $100 a day, which is really cheap, but I had so much tile work to do, I went out and bought a tile saw like they had on Craigslist. So now I own my own tile saw, so get out of my facial. All right, this is what's changed the face of backsplashes everywhere, is they make pre-packaged backsplashes at Home Depot and Lowe's both. These tiles are all together, well, it's just on a mesh, exactly. So it's a no-brainer. So let's say we were gonna put a backsplash starting at that door around the back of this room. So what the backsplash guy taught me is, at your starting point, you have to have everything evened up. So you see all these little notches where the 2 backsplashes kind of snap together here? You're gonna cut them all off on the innermost piece. Cut them off straight to butt up against that door. And that's a lot of times what'll stop you in a kitchen, is a door or an appliance. So cut it off straight up against whatever your starting point is. And then, well, first of all, you'll have to demo the tile. What are those things called? They're not, you demo, it's like a little, it has a handle. I didn't grab it. It's not quite a chisel. It's more of a flat, it's got a flat surface like this, but it's half moon shaped and a handle, and you just kind of hold onto them and hit it with a hammer.
5-in-1.
It's like a spackle knife. So what you're going to want to do with the spackle knife when you're demoing the tile is, the thing that you have to be the most careful of is that you don't put the knife at too far of an angle from the wall to pop the tile off, because anything you dig out of that wall, you're going to have to be putting back in with the mud that you put on the wall. So since we're not experts, we try to kind of just slide that little spackle knife behind there, and if you just tap it with a little hammer, any kind of hammer, lightest hammer you got, that tile will pop right off the wall. Same thing with this stuff. This looks like it's down there pretty sturdy. I guarantee you I've got a tool. It's like a giant spackle knife on a handle, and I take a mini sledge, and I could demo this whole room in probably less than 2 hours. So now I've demoed my tile, my backsplash off my kitchen. I've cut off my tile, so I'm starting out with a straight edge. Now what do I do when I get up to the corner? Holy crap, a corner! I measure how much from the innermost spot on here to the wall, because my tiles are going to lock together, and if it's only 4 inches, then I mark it 4 inches. I run it through the tile saw at 4 inches, and then I just take the extra piece and I flip it around on the next wall to turn the corner. That's how easy it is. And putting this tile on the wall, there's only 2 real secrets that you need to know. Is because it's all mesh, you can't screw it up anymore. It used to be you had to be a really good tile setter to do a backsplash, because you'd have to lay each tile in individually. Now they've made it a no-brainer. This is one of my tile tools, and I scoop up the goop that we put the tile on with, called mastic or tile adhesive. When you go to the tile department, they'll be able to guide you where all this stuff is. You just say, I want to put up a backsplash, and what's the goop you put it on with, and what kind of tool do I need? And you just smear it on the wall, and then you run down at the wall with one of these to make the grooves in it, because the tile has to stick to something. If it's a straight shot, the mesh doesn't have anything to grab onto. Then before you let the piece go, have a little finishing nail, little tiny one with a hammer, kind of standing by. I mean, you can let go of the tile, it's not going to fall down. But before it starts sliding down the wall from the weight, you put a couple of nails in there to hold it up for the night while it dries. Because otherwise, you'll come back in the morning and your tile will have slid down the wall on top of itself and kind of buckled. Then after that, if you... Huh?
It sounds like you've done that at least once.
Before my dad's house, I'd never done a backsplash. And I don't know if you remember seeing them, but the kitchen, the backsplash in there, and then the bathroom, the master bath, I did those with one tile class. So if I can do it, and honest to God, I am not mechanical. I am not good with tools. I'm good with a paintbrush. I can paint anything, and I can cut a line on 2 different colors with just my hand. But this stuff that involves tools and power tools, are you kidding? I could take a hand off. But I learned to take my time with that tile saw and know that it wasn't, if I had to have we did a mosaic, we did an insert where I had them cut out an insert in the bathroom. Well, they were going to rebuild that new shower. I said, could we cut out a little insert for the shampoo and the soap? And they said, sure. And so we had to put the little accent tile in the back of those shampoo and soap so it would match the whole glamorous decor. And I had to cut some very tiny pieces. So instead of running my fingers near that tile saw, I learned to run pieces of wood holding the little pieces. So I came out with all 10 of my fingers when I was done. But it's literally that easy to do a backsplash. So any of you can do it. And I have confidence in you all. Now, the last thing is, my greatest gift I'm going to give you is my people. The people, it's taken me 4 years to find the good people, like Oscar the roofer. Let's go down here. There's a couple of places. I show you where I get credit reports and where I write leases. Texas Apartment Association has the best lease in the country. Other states actually pay us a fee to use this form. Bobby Valencia is my best electrician at a very, very affordable rate of $60 an hour. If you know anything about electricians, they run from about 80 to 105. I've got a really good one at $100 an hour here in Odessa named Patagonia. He's a licensed master electrician. Bobby is an apprentice under he's supervised by a master. Midtown Plumbing is the one that everybody that I talk to that's doing renovation jobs uses, because he's fast. He's not only really, really good, he's quick, so you don't get, him sitting on the clock while he's waiting for some parts to be delivered. Robert Strapp is the guy I use for HVAC, and I listed this because I don't know if you'll ever need this, but I have older mobile homes, and to find replacement HVACs for them, people are telling me $9,000. About lost my mind. They said, no, call Jim's Refrigeration. He can probably find you one for about $800. Then Action Discount Carpet is where we got this carpet that I'm raving about. And then that new carpet, it's called Ario by Mohawk. It's all written down here so that you can go talk to Bill and he'll show it to you if your budget affords you to have $3.10 to $3.50 carpet. Now, Miguel underneath here under flooring installers used to always come out and put in the carpet for Bill, and I've put in enough of this carpet in my rentals that I made friends with him, and I said, what else do you do besides put in carpet? And he goes, I do flooring. And I said, awesome. So I called him up before I did the class and I said, you know that new plastic flooring that everybody's loving so much? He goes, I know. And I said, can you put it in? He goes, see? His price is $1.35 to $2 a square foot, and the range depends on what prep he has to do with the floor and if the carpet has to be removed. Now, I took out all the carpet out of my dad's house. It was, I don't know, a ridiculous amount, 2,000 square feet plus pad. And by doing that, I saved myself a whole bunch. I had my brothers and sisters over one Saturday, and Tom Sawyered them in to help me cut the carpet down and roll it up and tape it off and throw it down the stairs and load it on the trailer. If you can prep your floor by demo, if it's got tile on it that you're going to lay carpet over, and you demo the tile and try to get most of the rough spots out, it will go cheaper for you. If you have the time. I mean, if you're farming everything out to handymen and work crews, don't sweat the small stuff. Just make sure that they prep the floor before these guys come in, or pay these guys to come in and prep it for you. There's good old Oscar under roofers. There's Gail's Appliance for great refurbished appliances and broken shelves and refrigerators. M&M Trash allowed me to cut my trash bill by half. He has a 3-yard dumpster that he picks up from my house for $70 a month. Actually picks up from all the rentals that I have. Then, next section, you may not ever need to put in a septic system, but I've had Action Air put in one, and John, my septic installer, put in another. Both did equally as good a job. They're both, it wasn't apples and oranges. One was 2 houses hooked together on one septic system, and the other was 14 trailer spots going in on one line. So it wasn't really, you can't really compare them, but both guys were very professional and did a really good job. Water wells, and if anybody really had their heart set on hearing about how I build RV parks, my phone number is on the sheet, and I will tell you the 4 critical elements to building a successful RV park. And we can sit down and have a bite, and I'll teach you everything I know. But I thought it was more important to teach this group that flips and looks for flips to how I did what I did. So anyway, these septic system people are if you're putting in a septic system in a rural location, or if you're putting in an RV park. Same with the water well people. That's my insurance guy. RV repairs, only one guy on the list for a reason. And there's 7 people in Midland, Odessa that do it. But he's the best at the best price, and he's been coming out to my place so often now I don't even get a trip charge anymore, because he's kind to me and he makes me look like a hero. So I'm always offering him water. I make him feel like he's special to me because he really is. I mean, my RV park survives because he can come in after. And, you know, my brother's really smart when it comes to electrical. I'm really smart when it comes to plumbing. And if we look at it and still can't figure it out, that's when we call Leon, and he's a genius. So if you ever need repairs to a mobile home or an RV, you call Leon. Then dish is dish. Propane is for my propane tanks. Dressing a house is always, you always want to try and do a little something, even in your bread and butter houses, even if it's just a little table in an eat-in kitchen or some kind of nice little love seat in the living room. But you don't want to spend a fortune on these things. And Tuesdays and Fridays, there's a place in Midland called Helping Hands. It's a charity that everybody gives their furniture and belongings to, and they have these insane pieces of furniture. When I furnished all of my houses, I rent houses furnished now because I got sick of putting the furniture in for the people that want it and then taking it back. I'm not, now when they call it's a furnished house, take it or leave it. But I would get leather couches at Helping Hands for $100. And I'm not talking about ratty, my dog ate the arm off of it. I'm talking super nice. And one time I found the chair that matched. I would kill, I'm still debating if that chair is going to my home in Galveston. I'm going to be leaving you guys sometime this year to go home. I have to go home. I have a beach house and I miss it, and I'm going to go home. So I'm still thinking about that chair and that rental going home with me because I just can't get my mind off. It's overstuffed and it's got like stitching in it, white stitching on brown leather. Ooh, $50. Gotta love it. So I hope I've helped you guys to learn a little something about fix and flips. No, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. And I'll stay and answer any questions that you guys might have, and I'm at every meeting. So if you think of something later, just catch me next. Oh, before I forget, grab a pen. Lenders. I found these. I just went to a convention and I found these lenders that would be helpful for you if you're doing fix and flips, because they'll, like the one will do 85% of the after repair value. Let's see which one that was. Here it is. 85% loan. Specializing in investor programs, hard money conversion, rapid acquisition of 10 properties. We should all be so lucky. 21-day average turn time on their loans, so you can get a hold of them really quick. They are called AMP Lending, and their website is askmortgagepros.com. And I'll just give you one of the askmortgagepros.com, and one of their, I'll give you Toby's phone number. Toby, no, I can't even say his name. Rick Stegall. Rick, Stegall. His phone number is 832-549-2859. Then we've got Capital Concepts. Smart money lending for real estate loans. Hard money loans, rates as low as 6.99 and 2 to 3 points. Will finance up to 75% of the after repair value. So if you buy a house for 60 but it's repaired, it will be worth, well, let's take my dad's house. We had an offer on the table for $305. I did not take it. I took a $60,000 budget and brought it in for $414. This is what we ended up selling it for. So the $305 and the $414 I brought about, the way it worked out, because I got a concession from the realtor. I found a flat rate realtor to help me sell my property. So I made up the money that I spent on the flip on the realtor fees. He charged $3,500 instead of $11,000. So I was able to actually bring to the table, after repair value, of $11,523 for myself and each sibling, which was a big deal. Huh?
What agency was
Say that
it? The
again.
real estate group.
Oh, that sold
In
it?
itself, or the company worked on it?
If you look up Flat Rate Pro on the web, you might find one here. I looked it up because I knew such a thing existed, and one of the things, not that realtors aren't worth their weight in gold, but sometimes when I've done all the work and I just need you to stick it on the MLS, and obviously I did a good job because the third person that looked at it bought it. I just don't always want to give you 3.3% to, which in this case was, you know, 11 some odd $1,000. I don't mind giving you something. So I found a Flat Rate Pro. He charged $3,500. He was happy to do it. He churns and burns properties, really popular, and that's how they make their money. But this guy will give you 75% of the after repair value. So in my dad's case, it's $414. Loan amount includes the purchase price, repair costs for the rehab, which significantly reduces your out-of-pocket expense. Payments are interest only. This is Capital Concepts. Their phone number is 713-651-9500. And the last one is, ISB Capital. Financing for purchase and repairs, easy application process, competitive rates, no prepayment penalties. In-house underwriting, fast closing, hassle-free repair funding. Their phone number is 281-482-2700. That is called ISB Capital. Let's see if I've got any more lenders in here for y'all.
Got any private lenders?
These are all private lenders. These are all what's called hard money lenders. Let's see what this is. Red Door Funding in Stafford, Texas. 832 reddoorfunding.com. They're at 832-539-1099. Investor loans for existing 1 to 4 family residential properties. They'll do up to 75% loan after repair value. Interest only loan term is 6 months. If the Red Door loan is not paid off in 60 days, the interest rate goes to 13.99.
What's the normal interest rate? What's the normal interest in the first 6 months?
They don't say what the 6-month rate is. They just tell you what you're going to get hammered for if you let it roll. You know, a lot of hard money lenders right now, because interest rates are still comparatively low.
13 and 18%.
Oh, see, they're only going to roll to 14 if.
And that's not counting if it goes over your 90 days. Around here they have a 90-day and a 6-month loan.
Right.
Okay.
These guys are talking about 6 months on Red Door. I was shopping for a very specific type of loan when I went to this real estate convention down in Houston, and they were telling me that they could get me some financing at about between 5.5% and 6.5%, and I said, here's the deal. I grind my accountant. We grind every year. For the last 3 years during build out, we have shown a loss on my tax returns. So that's what you're going to be dealing with is I have a loss on my tax returns. I'm selling my RV park here. I expect to have this much, but I want to buy this apartment building and the gap is this much. Can you do the loan? And almost all of them said, yeah, sure we can. It's just a matter of how much. It's really just a matter of how much interest they're going to charge you. What now?
Could do like an equity exchange or something?
Well, I'm going into what's called a 1031 exchange,
Right.
where I have to buy something, but the two somethings I want to buy cost about $250,000 more than I'm going to sell my property for. So I've got to come up with it somewhere, because these new people I'm buying from are not going to be happy to sell or carry back. I mean, I'm going to try, but I doubt it. So I have to have a backup plan. So I went to this convention specifically in mind, looking for some things. One was a loan. Two was some cabinet facing. I had heard about the Cinch company because I had seen it on the bus tour. And just to see what's new, there's some new lotions and potions out there that get cat piss out of carpet, which if you've ever had a pet policy, you'll know how hard that is. I don't mind dogs pissing on my carpet, that doesn't stink, but cats, oh my God. You almost have to rip up the carpet and the pad and scrub the floor.
And you're lucky you don't have wood floor, because we'll get into that.
Then it would soak into that and you'd be cutting floor out. Yeah, we have and they gave me some stuff to try and they said it really does work, so I'm really hoping. But that's my story, y'all, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you for letting me be your presenter tonight.
You guys are welcome to stick around and talk. Melissa gets to stick around and talk to each other and just get to know each other. And Cynthia will be available to talk.
I will.
Put that back here. I need to take a picture of all those. I didn't take notes on those lines.
Oh, and the people? Oh, and the lenders, yes. Oh,
I'll just take pictures real quick.
here you go, honey bun.